Welcome to the Max Bet Podcast, a podcast dedicated to everything gaming. I'm Landon Jones, here with Mike McKiskey. Let's get started. Welcome.
Thank you, buddy.
To another episode.
The Max Bet Podcast.
The Max Bet Podcast.
We're here. We're hanging. Cool hat, buddy.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah,
I got to switch my hats up.
The
I
old
can't.
golf
I have
cart
to
hat.
wear hats.
I don't understand that. You have the best hair in the biz, all arguably top 5, right? So there's a couple guys that come to mind, like Casey and these guys with the hair, but
You had to mention Casey's hair. I'm coming for you,
it's a
Casey.
shame game. You guys like wear it? Does
No,
he
no,
like
no,
to
no
make you feel
shame.
small? I'm like,
I love Casey. No,
So-
he doesn't make me. He makes me feel tall.
But you hide it from the people, man. You're here with the hat week after week. I mean, it's a cool
Bro,
collection.
But yeah, it's too. Here, look, it's too fluffy. So
I mean, you own a comb. You could have done that pregame.
you can't really mess it up. So you can't see. This is the problem.
This is great.
It just goes
Look at
over
this.
the whole. If you're watching on web, you're watching the TV version.
If you're
You're getting more than you bargained for right
And
now.
if you're watching, if you're just listening, Landon basically looks like Larry from the Three Stooges with his hair going everywhere. Oh, man.
That's why I wear a hat.
That's where we were at. Well, good thing you had a good collection. So
Because the Pomsky,
Solid,
dude, the strut bar is what we call this. What we call this, a roll cage.
is that what it on the headphones?
Yeah, it doesn't jive
Please don't roll off the table with the headphones. It's ridiculous.
in my roll
Little
cage.
concussion action. I'm not a qualified medic.
This is not what the people want to hear about.
They don't. I don't know. I just
Maybe.
give them. Well, what do they want to hear about, man?
I don't know.
You know what I've been hearing about?
I don't even know why I'm here right now.
What planet are we on?
What are we doing?
Last week's episode, you're like, I'm with the aliens still. I don't know what's going on.
Still with them.
Fox Mulder. Okay, so fun fact.
Yep.
Recent history just happened. Aristocrat buys Playtech.
Big purchase.
Huge deal, right? And I'm not the gaming analyst to tell you like, hey, smart move. Seems like a smart move, right? Biggest land-based guy buys one of the biggest
Online guys.
online companies, right? And so
Cool company too. Playtech's a cool company.
seems like it, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a massive merger. What I love about what I think is just the most cool thing in this whole statement,
Most cool, yeah.
most good, the coolest, the most bestest, is they go $2.9 billion deal. So I'm assuming that's a good value. I don't know. Everybody likes it.
Buys a casino.
All cash.
It's insane.
It's like imagine, like you're just like Scrooge McDuck with the whole vault full of gold coins going, what do you need, $2.9 billion? I got it. Just come right in here, wheelbarrow the money over to Europe. We're good. Like that, because normally when you see those big deals, it's like, wow, there's a little bit of money and a little bit of stock and a little bit of like crazy way, like couple Topo Chicos for you. Like here, it's just all cash.
And imagine how much value Aristocrat has
To bring.
to that platform. So that's what Playtech's worth now. Maybe like a 10x multiple, maybe a little more, because people are paying insane amount of monies for online gaming.
For sure.
But the content that Aristocrat can bring to that platform,
Yeah.
they're gonna make that back tomorrow.
They're going to buffalo the online world. That's it. That is the whole thing.
I don't know what getting buffaloed means, but I do not want to get
Stay
buffaloed.
tuned. You're going to see it online in Europe. Playtech's platforms getting buffaloed.
That's a lot of cash. Can you imagine seeing that come out of your bank account? Like I know when I pay my rent and my mortgage and stuff, you're like,
Yeah. Oh, man.
$2.9 billion.
What's crazy is I don't know how much they have left, but it's probably a lot.
Yeah.
We're probably going, wow, okay, there's a dent,
Yeah.
but we'll make it back, right? They're going, I mean, based on that, they're just going to be shoveling it back in. So
I
the Aussies are
cannot
smart.
wait to see what Aristocrat does with their content and that platform and that base of players. Good on them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good on you, mate. Yeah, the
Yeah, can
Aussies.
I get a little of that?
Well, you should have invested in Playtech sooner, my friend.
I know.
Yeah, well, then it'll be interesting to see what everyone else does. Like, do then people react, right? Do you go, hey, so-and-so now has to buy something to compete or keep pace or whatever? I don't know. I'm not the M&A guy.
You're like, all cash. Here's my piggy bank.
Straight cash, homie? Yeah,
I know
whatever.
I brought a backpack. That's all. It all fits in there.
It's stuffed with coins, actually. It's not even hundreds. It's just coins in my bag. That's hilarious. What would you do? So I always ask you this because you're the big dreamer of like multiple funds.
Yeah.
$2.9 billion. Obviously, I don't think any one person's getting all of it, but let's assume you have
You
it.
already know the answer to this question.
Buy a boat and fly around.
No.
Van.
No. Well, yeah, I get the van too, but
What am I doing? I don't know.
Start a space
forget
program.
that. Oh, that's
bro.
right.
Anytime you have $1 billion in the bank, you got to start a space program.
Like, aliens, I'm coming. Let's do it. Yeah, well, that's true. I think the guys that have the space programs have multiple billions in them. I think a space program probably costs $1 billion.
Just to even say space program, it costs $1 billion.
Just a hashtag space program, you're paying money.
It's like announcing for presidency. Like you need $1 billion in the bank.
Exactly.
How much did that cost? $1 billion. We announced
Yeah,
it.
it's $1 billion. Yeah, we felt good about it.
Personally, what would I do with $2.9 billion? I mean, you wouldn't need to do anything.
What would you do? Yeah,
You could buy anything you want.
for sure.
Yeah, so I don't know, you want to do something good with it, right? I definitely want to invest in, I don't know, like maybe giving the world water.
Yeah, Chris Long, podcaster,
Yeah.
he does all that, so you can get in with him. I think, yeah, for sure. So now you've went charitable, and I feel like a jerk because what I was going to say is I try to buy a sports team, which is not charitable at all, but it would be awesome to be like,
You know
I
what
got
I've
the
always
big
wanted to do, dude?
What?
Like as like a charitable event. Like, you know, when you travel, you talk to like some cool people and they're like, yeah, we're starting a family. We're just trying to figure out how to make it work. Be like, you know what? Good luck on your adventure. Here's $1 million. And they're like,
$1 million.
what?
Okay, so that's your.
Oh my gosh, now I can send my kid to college. I don't have to worry. Like we can go buy a house. Like we can take what we're already doing, but we can amplify that in like a positive way. Like good people that maybe haven't had like, you know, good luck in
The
their
jump
life.
start, the
Yeah,
boost.
the jump
Yeah,
start.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
give them a jump start and just do that daily. You're like, oh, you're trying to work through school. Here's $100,000.
$1 billion. How many millions is that? 1,000 million?
That's 1,000 million.
So you'd have to give away all your money. But like if you did 1,000 times.
Even more, dude. I mean, just the amount of interest $2.9 billion makes in a day.
Yeah, it's probably
You could probably
just
do
take that
just
number
in
and
the
be like, we're just
interest.
giving
Yeah,
that away
just
every
give
day.
the
Just
interest
give the
away.
interest away every day. Yeah, it's funny.
It's crazy.
I always do like those stories where you get some celebrity or athlete or person with cash. It's like, I was just in the grocery store and I was like, I'm just buying everybody stuff. Like you see Shaq does it a lot, or he goes, I don't know, who's here toys? It's Christmas time. We'll just ring them all up.
Think
I
of
got
that.
it, the card at the front.
$2.9 billion interest wise.
Don't ask me, man.
What
It's
do
a
you
lot
get,
of
like
money,
a
though.
10% rate of return on your maybe
Let's
7.
assume.
Let's call it
okay.
5%.
Okay, this will be
That's
fun. All the math guys listening are about to freak out.
no way. I got this, dude.
Okay, go walk us through.
If you're a 5% interest
Okay.
and you have 2.5 billion, we'll say for easy math.
You're doing this in your head. Yeah,
Right?
okay, got it.
You're making 150 million in interest a year.
Okay.
Means that you can give away roughly $500,000 a day
Yeah, that's fair.
in interest. How am I on the math?
I don't know. I assume you're close. I'm just going to go with it because I'm not here to spreadsheet
Well, what's
you.
5% of a billion? It's 1,000 million. You make 5%. It's 50 million, right?
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it sounds right.
If I'm wrong,
Just tweet him as hard as you can. Just link him in Instagram and just blow him
I
up
feel
with
like my
spreadsheets.
math's good. Anyways,
You know who's disappointing in you?
today's an exciting interview day.
All the analysts at EKG are so disappointed at your math right now.
I don't care.
Todd and Adam are to send you a spreadsheet. Here's how you calculate.
Here's why you've never got a job in finance. Well, here's why I never wanted a job in finance, because it sucks.
And he would just give away all the money. $500 million.
Finance doesn't
Let's
suck,
say so.
just math in general.
It's critical, but it's not as fun as you might think.
Yeah.
So today's interview, why is it exciting?
Yeah, I'm trying to get the attention off me, but I'm excited about today's
Get
interview.
off my math.
Because today kind of brings it all together, right? What brings it all together for you in a year, like in a full work year as a vendor VP?
Well, as a vendor VP for my past life, what I would say is obviously the gaming shows. So I know where you're going. So it's like I understand the answer before you ask a question. I don't know that I would normally answer it that way, but what I would say is
a softball
the
segue.
still struck out. It's I mean the trade show, right? Like it's good to see everybody, good to get together, good to there's a lot of energy that happens in 3-4 days in Vegas, right? That you could do. I mean, I like NIGA as well, but G2E is kind of the big one. So that would be the one. So who do we have that's tying it all together with the G2E stuff?
We have the queen of trade shows. Korbi is in the house.
Korbi Carrison.
Korbi Carrison,
G2E.
the director
We've
of G2E.
appointed her as that. Yeah, she's the event director. We are appointing her queen of G2E.
Yes.
Yes.
And we could ask her all the questions about what it takes to set up a show like G2E.
That's it.
Pretty excited, actually, to chat with her. I got to meet her at G2E
Yeah, you had a great run-in.
this year. I did.
This was fun. This was like so it's weird. So I'll say like what was crazy about the show is the first time people recognize you that you've never met. Right?
Yeah.
Like from doing this and like it's awesome. Like so many people are listening. They're finding value in what we're doing. And it's like people go, you're the Max Beck guy. Or you're Landon. Or
It
you're
was
Mike,
my
right?
first Z-list celebrity experience.
It's not even
We'll
on the
call it
list, but it's
ZS.
whatever. Yeah. There's no list for us idiots. But like,
So I'll tell the story.
Yeah.
What had happened was
happened was-
our last day of G2 or of AGS was the Friday before G2E. And so usually, you know, we get to show up at G2E. We go to the booth. They have our name on the list. All good.
yeah, easy.
Well, I figured since I had a job with the previous manufacturer,
Just 3 days
that
before.
my name
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
on the list. Turns out they didn't put me on
They
that
shunned
list.
you. They're like, you resign, you're out. Yeah.
I'm standing at G2E in line. I go, give them my name. Landon Jones here for
Fancy Pants McGee over here.
showing
yeah.
up for G2E 2021. What a tale. They're like, sir, your name is not on the list.
We've
I'm
never
like,
heard of
no,
you.
no, no. This is my 14th G2E.
Jones with a J.
I've
Yeah,
gotta be
exactly.
there. You're missing it. They're like, you're not on this list. So now I'm standing in line like a complete idiot, right? Like
No
just
badge,
like
I got
no badge.
money. Yeah, exactly.
People are waiting for me. I'm like, no. A lady comes in. She goes, Landon? I said, yes. You know, the mask on. You can't really
Yeah,
say.
right.
So now I'm
but the
thinking,
hair
like,
gave it away. That's the thing. You had the hair.
well, I had never met her before. So I'm
Right.
thinking to myself, like, who is this person that knows my name? And I don't want to, like, get it wrong.
Be rude. Yeah, for
She's
sure.
like, Landon. I go, hi, do I know you? She's like, no, you're Landon from the Max Fit podcast. I'm like,
True.
yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, I listen to you every week. I'm like, no way. She's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing standing in line? I was like, turns out I don't have a badge.
Yeah.
And she goes, step into my office.
Read this way,
Because
sir.
it's like $1,400.
Well, so let's be
For
clear. So there's
non-exhibitor badge.
varying tiers, right? So if you want to do everything, every panel, all the VIP receptions, everything, it can be, $1,400. But what I was laughing about is I literally signed up like 10 people with the free links because every vendor that displays says, hey, sign up under us. You get to go for free.
Yeah.
So I signed myself up under, under that. I sent it to you, our guy Kevin, like the
I
guys.
signed Kevin up.
Well, there you go, even better. So like you already knew to do it, but you didn't do it for yourself, and then you're just standing there with empty pockets, going, I don't know. And so she hooked you up with an expo floor access, which was fun.
Yeah, so that's how we met her, and that's
Easy.
how we decided that it might be fun to talk to her. And
Yeah.
she's a rad lady, so I'm excited to interview
Yeah,
her.
no doubt. Before we jump into that,
Oh boy.
couple things that G2E also brings about: awards season.
Yes.
So a lot of people winning awards, running and gunning. You know who won some awards? He didn't want to talk about it when he was here, so we gave him a pass. But now he's not here. We can say what we want. Acres.
They won 2 awards.
2 awards,
Yeah.
gold and platinum or whatever it was, the different awards they won for their foundation system, which we've been talking about, right? The foundation of what you want to build in your casino. So it's bonusing, it's player analysis, it's marketing. Even they do a lot of the cashless, right? So they're supporting all these different avenues. And, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention them because they've been supporting us. And remiss. No T at the end.
Remiss.
There you go.
How'd I do?
You did well. That's good. Vocabulary 101 today. And so check them out. So if you're interested, you've heard us talk about it. You listened last week to Noah giving you the whole overview. And but yeah, it's good stuff. The Foundations Technology. So check them out, acresmanufacturing.com, and maybe there's a fit for you. And chat with those guys, see what they can do.
And we'd be remiss to not talk about our other sponsor, EKG. And the reason I
Eilers
want
and
to bring them
Krejcik.
up is
So they
if
can
you're
help you with math.
wondering, help me with math, guys. If you're wondering what's working from the show, check out the new games report.
Yeah, new
Yep.
games report. They just released one, I think, by the time you listen to it, it won't be today, but recently.
Yep.
That was the social gaming. And I'm still fascinated. I mean, I know that's the Krejcik side of Eilers and Krejcik, but it's like how much money is thrown around in social gaming.
It's crazy.
Unbelievable. I mean, you're talking billions of dollars.
And
fascinating.
just like, it's not even there. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
you get nothing out. But I'm a sucker for it too. Like I'm not on a social casino site, but like I play my free games and I'm good for $5-10 a week. And then I look at them going, man, I spent a lot of money on this damn game.
Bro.
Just level up, right? And you're like,
I didn't want to tell you where I am with Chumba.
well, that's actually gambling, so it's a little different.
Yeah, technically it's not.
Okay.
Sweepstakes.
All right, so it's like you're playing lottery or some sort of hybrid of it. Yeah.
It's another loophole, which I still don't understand. I don't even think they understand. They're like, I don't know how we got this approved, but it's
legal
working.
opinions that say they can do it. Yeah, it's it's interesting. So
All right.
now you teased us. How? I mean, you're going to try to throw out a number. I mean, they now know that I'm $500 to $600 a year on social free play gaming. What are you doing?
I'll tell you the most I've ever won on one spin on Chumba is 10 grand.
Whoa, single spin.
Single spin.
Something tells me you've put that all back into the site.
Korbi, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, buddy.
Let's jump into
Let's
the
jump
interview.
in. Thanks, guys.
Boom.
Korbi, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, I'm great. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I mean, it's fortunately G2E is now over, and I say fortunately because it's a very busy, tiresome event, but very successful this year. So we have the I don't know, director of G2E, as it turns out, but as far as I think of it, like the queen of G2E, right? You run all of it. So it's not a monarchy, but as it is. So no, it's great to have you. How was the show for you this year?
I think we had a great show. We didn't know exactly how things would turn out going into it. It's been a rough couple of years for everybody in the industry.
Yeah.
But we knew that the industry wanted to come together again.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We have business to do, right?
Sure.
And doing that business in person is something that you just can't replace. So we talk to people throughout the industry all the time.
Yeah.
And we get their feedback on what do you think is going to be good, where do you want to go with this. And they wanted to do the show in person, but these are tough times. I mean, everybody still has to wear a mask.
Yeah,
we're still in a pandemic.
Right.
How do you do a big, major live event when some people aren't even comfortable going to the grocery store?
Right.
So it took a while to get all that planning together.
I'm curious, outside of the pandemic, questions or suggestions. So let's move back like 3 years. What are suggestions do you get from like some of these exhibitors? They're like, we want more tacos. We want more tacos in G2E. Like, what kind of like expectations or suggestions do you get outside of that parameter?
There are a lot.
Sure.
And I mean, honestly, I love hearing them all because some of the ones you might be, who knows where you are and you're talking with somebody and they say, you should do whatever. Right. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, next. But then I'm
not the taco lady, bud. You got to figure this out. Yeah.
I want different colored carpet.
but then I'll be like driving home or something and it kind of, or mention it to somebody and it kind of takes on a life of its own.
Yeah.
And you never know what you're going to come up with when you start giving the ideas just a little bit of oxygen.
Yeah, interesting.
It's pretty cool to start ideating and go different places with that.
Do you have like one suggestion you can share? That
did one that like snowball into something that you actually put into place?
One that was really pretty cool actually, and I'm hoping that we can get back to this next year, is we had this, I don't know if you all know, but of course, people come from all over the world to come to G2E. A lot of people don't just come to G2E. They come and they'll spend like 10 days in Las Vegas because trends start here in Las Vegas. And they want to tour the casinos. Mm-hmm. They'll go to Southern California and they'll spend 3 or 4 days walking around the casinos there.
Yeah.
And going to Disneyland, whatever.
Right.
But they want to see what's happening at the casinos here. So we kind of grabbed onto that idea and said, how can we make this more of an experience that's part of G2E?
Sure.
Especially for those attendees that are coming from elsewhere and might not have the relationships to be able to call up somebody at Red Rock and say, hey, how do you do this? Or can you give me some insight on that? So we put together some tours that we offered up to operators, especially outside of the U.S.
Yeah.
Wow.
The response was unbelievable. I mean, it was like we filled up a bus and then we filled up another bus and then we couldn't fill up any more buses because there's only so much that you can do. And then we had to hire interpreters because there were people coming from Asia. There were a lot of folks coming from South America that they just want to see what's going on here. Yeah. And it's amazing. One of the cool things I get to do is sometimes I get to go to some of these places. And I have a friend, my friend Alan, who runs the SAGC show in Argentina. He hosted me and one of our key attendee folks that for G2E a couple of years ago, he toured us around like 6 casinos in Argentina so we can understand how they do business, so we can understand how to better arrange things around G2E, or how can we encourage exhibitors to bring more to the show that these people want to see. And it turns out that
That's cool.
A lot of those operations outside the U.S. are more like our locals markets than like the tourist markets. So learning that kind of stuff is really cool. I love that.
Yeah, I love, it's funny, I love Saxy. So when I first got into gaming, I think I might have been to Saxy before I was to G2E, just the way my career went down. So, but what I always loved about it, because I was down there when I was 24, 25, right, single guy, but the show starts at like 3 in the afternoon.
Perfect.
So the best part, so it's like I just finished college. I'm like, I'm still in college, because you go 3 to like 9. And then they go, hey, go shower. Dinner's at 11. We dance until 3. Then you sleep. We start again at 3. I'm like, this is the best format ever.
Yeah,
like,
I'm
forget this
in.
9 a.m. call time. I'm going in at 2 p.m., right? It's awesome. But I don't know if you could get away with that here, like just the way that everything structures. But it's definitely an interesting ride.
They've got to figure it out. That's the way to go,
Just-
because
well,
you're
it's
going to go
culture.
out late anyways. It doesn't matter if the show starts at 6 a.m. or 10 a.m.
Yeah, you're out all night. That's
Kind of
most
like
of the
being
time.
with your customers or your friends or colleagues. Like, this is a time that you get to interact, spend some time together. So you're going out.
Yeah.
And then you got to be in the booth, clean shaven, fresh, ready to go at 9 a.m. after you just got home at
Or I'm
4
sure if you're
a.m.
Korbi, you're there at 7, making sure everybody's
Yeah,
getting in place,
that's
right?
true.
Your early call time is probably worse than ours.
It's pretty early,
Yeah.
and it makes for a little earlier bedtime and not all of the usual.
The
We'll
madness
call it antics,
Yeah.
entertainment,
Right.
whatever.
can
But
do it on
it's all
Thursday
good.
when it's
all
over.
good.
Yeah.
That brings me to my next question.
Antics.
Can we change the start time of G2E?
Can we start a petition now? Say it's noon to 5 now. That's it. Has anyone requested that, or can we formally request that we get a little sleep-in time for G2A?
Well, there's a lot of business to do G2E week. So,
I agree.
Pushing it all into those 3 days for some people is challenging.
For
some
sure.
some
Especially
people,
if you come from an out of state or out
yeah.
of country.
And we also do education sessions on Monday before.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on Monday. We've had people ask, do you really need Thursday? Can you close early Thursday? Well, we already do
Yeah, right.
close a little early on Thursday, but it's surprising how many people post-show will come to us. And, this year we're still getting all of that post-show feedback together.
Yeah.
But typically the last couple of years, it's been, hey, we were super busy on Thursday.
Interesting,
We
yeah.
we were slammed on Tuesday, really busy Wednesday. We were pretty busy on
Cranking
Thursday
still
too.
Thursday, yeah. I always laugh because back when I was, it was 3 weeks ago, but like when I was working at AGS still, it was like, hey, if you're doing a meeting, like if the customer suggests we'll meet you Thursday, it's like, they're not buying anything. Like they're just checking the box going, I'm going to be so burnt out by Thursday, I'll probably
Half
cancel.
the time they don't show
Yeah,
up.
there's like, I don't know, Wednesday's parties were great and now we're here, but that makes sense. It's good to hear that there's a lot of business going down there. And so back to the original, the tour buses are pretty cool. And I feel like when people were coming in, they were all saying to us, like, hey, can we go see Circa? Can we see resorts? Because here in Vegas, there was so much new stuff with a 2-year break, right? So saying it was 19, like half this stuff wasn't open. We want to go check it out. So it's cool that you guys organize some guided tours for people to go check out the new offerings Vegas has here.
I was going to say, that's no secret, too. If you're a vendor emailing the operator and you want a Thursday time frame, then you probably know they're not
You know
gonna
where
buy
you stand.
anything.
Yeah, you're both like, I don't know. My favorites were the guys that are like, hey, I want to get in Tuesday, 10 a.m. It's like, okay. And then they're late always because they're like, well, I forgot about the ribbon cutting. So 10 minutes, I'm like, don't worry about it. We know you're excited for us. So that's fun.
That is
All right. So we're talking about all the G2E. You skipped a step here.
Okay.
How is it that you become Lordess of G2E? So you run Queen of G2E.
G2E.
Yeah, I'm going to just throw all these
Yeah.
different monarchy titles. But
geez.
how is it that you become, like, how did this happen? Like I said earlier, I said, before we started recording, I can't imagine in college you're like, I want to run the biggest gaming trade show in the United States.
In college, I don't think I even knew what a trade show was.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So how'd you get to here?
You don't plan this stuff, and that's part of the beauty of watching somebody's career take the twists and turns that it does. So my background is in marketing. My degree is in marketing, and I came to Las Vegas a long time ago and said, I don't want to work in gaming.
Okay. What drew you here if not gaming?
I had a boyfriend here.
Oh, okay. Love. Got it. Okay.
Didn't work out,
That's
but,
okay.
but it worked out in lots of
Yeah,
other
in
ways.
your younger years, they almost never do, so no worries. Yeah.
Exactly. So I was looking for a job, and my friend hooked me up with a company called Gaming Systems International,
Okay.
a systems company, and I didn't realize that gaming didn't mean you weren't working in a casino. I thought it was like gaming equals you work at exactly, and I'm like, I don't want to be pushing the change cart because it was that long.
I remember that.
Yeah. What are my parents gonna think? I went to college and now I sell change.
Your dad's gonna be like, what do you get paid in half dollars? What are we doing here? Yeah,
exactly. So I went on the vendor side and I'm like, hey, you know what? This is cool because I have evenings and weekends off.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning about this industry. It's really neat. The people are really cool. So I went to work for that company for a while. Turned into, from there, meeting some people that brought me with them over to WMS.
Okay, interesting.
I don't know, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, whatever year.
To work in marketing.
Yeah.
And my first day on the job there, my boss said to me, so the person who's been doing our trade shows left today. Do you want to do it? And I'm like, I can do that.
For WMS.
Yeah,
that's
WMS.
a big job.
That's interesting.
That's
so
a lot.
If I'm tracking the
I did-
timeline, is there any chance the person that said that to you is Rob Bone?
No.
Okay, just
No.
curious because I know he was
Bone
Bone Dog. He
Dog.
was in marketing there for a while, so I'm like, I know a couple
Yeah,
marketers at W, Colleen or Rob or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was laughing. I go, okay, no worries.
Yeah, we worked together
Yeah,
for sure.
awesome.
But it was before that.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and so that was like, okay, figure it out.
Yeah.
And luckily, there are a lot of people that, if you ask nice, will help you with anything.
Yeah.
And people generally want to help people succeed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was there.
But you have to ask. That's very important.
100%.
You got to ask. You don't get anything. You
I
don't
literally
ask
said
for.
that this morning. Somebody's like, how'd you guys do all this? I'm like, I don't know. We just asked for help. Like, we just raise our hand and say, hey, I don't know about whatever it is. And somebody, hey, Korbi, you know about this. You help us out? Sure. 9.9 out of 10. Like every now and again, I'm a little busy. You can't work it. All right, forget it. But like normally help. So you ask for help. You're at WMS.
I
you
asked
get the
for
trade
help.
show. Yeah.
I learned a lot. I was there for about 7 years, grew and learned so much along the way.
Yeah.
And that led me to go and work for IGT and running trade shows for them and managing the Las Vegas marketing group for IGT, which was another just awesome experience. And then I was like, you know what? I've been doing this for a while. Maybe I want to do something different.
Yeah.
And I'd been doing trade shows for so long. I'm like, maybe I want to try that.
Yeah.
Just kind of working in that realm, but I don't really want to leave gaming.
Sure.
So I went to work for a vendor that built trade show displays. And what they wanted to do was build up their gaming clientele for G2E and for other shows. So I'm like, hey,
I know some
that sounds great.
clienteles, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. So we went and I did that for a couple of years. It was really a lot of fun. And again, learned a lot about trade show operations and just different aspects that I hadn't had exposure to before.
Wow.
But then it was, again, kind of like, do I really want to do that full time? Plus, here I'm living in Las Vegas. All my gaming friends are still around, but I don't get to work with them every day, which I missed. I missed that. Yeah. So I decided to get back into the gaming industry, and I went to work for a company, Spectrum Gaming Group, that as part of what they did conferences. So my job was a conference director. And I never thought I would have the skill set to put together conference content, but it turns out that with help, and lots of people who were willing to come and do conferences, I did that, and I learned that part of the business too. But then that ended, and I went back to work for a gaming manufacturer. I went to work for Every.
Hey, you've been to.
She likes the blue team. So WMS, if they're a little bluish,
Gucci,
purplish.
She's been to Gucci,
She's
yeah.
Gucci.
Yeah.
She's designed the whole Gucci program. That's it.
Right. So I went and I worked for Every for a couple of years in marketing and promotions, which again, wonderful people, great products, good stuff. And I had no intention of leaving, but I get an email one day that G2E is looking for an event director. And I'm like, okay, I'll click on the job description. I'm reading it, and I'm like, that's a lot of my background, right? So I talked to somebody about it, and
The qualifications. Check,
I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. Yeah,
check.
exactly.
Ask for help. Check.
Done. Yeah.
I had never thought about doing anything like that before. And I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, let me think about it. And it just kind of went away from my mind a little bit because I had no interest in leaving.
Yeah.
I loved what I was doing. And then a couple weeks later, someone else called me and they're like, there's this job and it's you. And I said, well, I guess if this is coming to me again, maybe
Pay attention.
Maybe the universe is trying to tell me something and I should take another look.
Sure.
And there we are.
Wow. And here we are.
Interesting. So I think, the G2E side of it, I'm assuming there's some big runway leading up to it. But in a way, and it's going to sound ridiculous, you're a little bit like Santa Claus, right? Because you have one gigantic worldwide event. But what do you do in like March? Right? So my question is like when it's not G2E or the 3-month runway to G2E, what does the event director for G2E do in her off season, so to speak?
It's interesting you put it that way because as a corporate, RX, the company that I work for, the mentality really has been that way across all of the events that we do. And we do like 4,000 shows worldwide every year.
Obviously not just gaming. So this is all different trade industries and it's not all casino 4,000.
We do many industries.
Right,
I mean,
right,
we do 2 gaming shows.
Yeah, right. Which ones? This one and which one?
G2E Asia.
Asia. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on, but in the past, there hasn't been a lot of engagement in the off cycle.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things that between me and some other people on the team, we're thinking, it would be cool to do this, that, and the other. We partner up with a lot of the other events and we support each other because it's good for the industry.
Right.
But when the pandemic came along, there really was the need to figure out how are you going to engage with people without being face to face.
Right.
And it really accelerated that thought leadership piece of the puzzle, which is something that is so much easier to do year round. So we really got some plans together on how to do more digital engagements year round, and we started doing more webinars and started doing more kind of networking things. Some of them work well, some of them don't, and that's the stuff that the stuff that you learn along the way. But really, to get back to the question that you're answering, it kind of is a Santa Claus mentality where you show up once a year. But I mean, I started working on next year's show 3 months ago.
Wow.
Interesting. So even before this one was off and running, you're already working on it.
Because we need to talk to people on site about exhibitor. Do you want to renew? What works for you? And, in order to do that, you have to have your pricing all lined up. You have to have your budget together, just like in any business. We all have a budget cycle.
Right.
So we need to know what's going on. We need to be in tune with our partner, AGA, on what are the important sectors for gaming. Where's gaming going to be next year, 5 years, 10 years, wherever? We need to be in alignment on it, all of that and be able to deliver on what not only our exhibitors want to show, but what the attendees want to see. So that's another kind of crazy thing. When I worked for Every, I was traveling, at least once a month, sometimes twice, going to events and going to the games headquarters in Austin. Yep. And I took this job, and I'm like, I might be at home more. I'm going to be officing at home more. My husband's like, yeah, you're going to be traveling way more.
Yeah, no chance.
Because now I go to all of the industry events because I want to see what's going on. We need to know what's happening out there so we can, number one, support the other events that are delivering for our customers.
Sure.
Yeah.
But number two, how do we do better in bringing it all to G2E? So it's a lot of time on the road. It's talking to people.
Right. What are the real estate fights like? That's what I want to know.
Like booth positioning?
Well, I know, like AGS,
sure,
we finally got the booth we wanted.
Gucci
And
Row,
it was like,
right?
you have to confirm that you're going to be at next year, so you don't want to lose that spot.
Yeah.
What are the real estate? Yeah, Gucci Row. Like, how do you get into Gucci Row?
That's what we call it.
Who has
the
to die to
aristocrat
get in there?
AGS.
You get a lot
side
of these
games,
real,
bro.
like, we need to be closer to the big guys. It's like, yeah, we get that you want to be closer, but those are all taken.
There's only so many lots, right, so to speak. So
It's limited real estate for sure, but we need to do a better job. This is me talking about like future G2 stuff.
Right.
When we look at our post-show surveys, and our current post-show survey is still in the field, so I don't really have anything to share on that, but our consistent feedback from attendees who matter to everybody is, we have a hard time navigating the show. We can't find the things that we want to find. So we need to figure out a way to make that easier. We need to find a way to better serve our attendees.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's a whole debate about the real estate, and then it turns into how much is that? Because I mean,
it's like Monopoly. Yeah. Like, this is Park Place. You're going to pay double.
Well, I did want to know. I do want to know that. So, not to say any specific numbers, but just in general, like, how do you price it? So, when you say you have a booth here, I mean, it's all square footage, yeah. But is it? I mean, there's probably, we call it Gucci Row as a premium location in my mind versus, let's say, the middle or the opposite side. You may go, well, there's still X amount of square foot, but maybe the price per square foot's different. Or like, how do you come to some of the numbers that you guys build out for the vendors?
You know, every show does it differently, and that's kind of the beauty of what we do at Reed is we have all these other shows that we can draw from their experience.
Right.
So we look at what maybe a security show does, and do we do it the same? Do we do it different? Some shows charge way more for the upfront. You know, it's kind of tough. It's and I'm not saying that the model is perfect because I think it still can use some work, but there's a science to it for sure. And we do have pricing experts that help us with all of that.
Sure.
So that's another off-cycle thing where where are you going to go in the future? Well, you don't just in a day decide what your pricing is going to be.
Well,
You
not
need
just winging it, going, I don't know, a million. Figure it out.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good.
Yeah, just multiply by whatever.
Yeah, right.
No, you know that doesn't necessarily work. You have to do it in a way that makes sense for the market.
Yeah, it makes. I mean, I've never had to price, so I wasn't in the marketing team saying, "Here's the booth we're going to evaluate." And
it's a big show to get all around.
Huge shows, yeah. And so, but yeah, so that's interesting. But back to the navigation, what are some of the ways you're fixing that? Because I do laugh. Like I laugh, and it's kind of like a helpless laughter where you go, "Come see us in booth 4,238." I'm going, good luck. Like, I have no idea where that is. Like, you tell me the address of the booth, like, I'm going to find it, but I have no idea. I'm just wandering around until I fortunately go, oh, I think it was over next to that one, right? Like, how would you find it?
You know, we can get approved while we're sitting here with
Good
Korbi?
luck. What up? What is it?
Can Mike rollerblade the show next year? 'Cause
We talked about that. And I think
he
the
wants
latest
to know
episode,
if he can rollerblade the show next year.
I
some promos.
I talked to somebody yesterday who had rented a mobility scooter.
Okay.
And he said, full disclosure, I don't need a mobility scooter.
Yeah, just wanted to
He
cruise.
just wanted to be able to sit. And
you have to get that approved to be able to use one of those scooters?
No,
Okay.
you can rent one of those from the venue, but rollerblade probably not gonna happen.
So
Sorry.
That's okay. Where it came from, though, and so back to some of the exhibitions and just different things is individual booths can have some fun. Like, there's definitely boring booths where you got like a guy in a chair going, I don't know, man, here's what we do. And you're like, okay, I hope that I really just came for you because then I will be there. But you're probably not getting a ton of walk up. Whereas other booths, you go, man, these guys are having fun. They got TVs on and models and beanbag toss and like all this stuff. But what could you do that would be fun across it all? Right? So I think that's what we were saying. Like, wouldn't it be fun to have an army or a crew that's like just rollerblading around, having a good time? Like, these are just things that obviously there's safety hazards. But
like a bounce house in the middle?
Something. You know, I know it sounds ridiculous, but like an adult, you know, a grown-up's bounce house or a grown-up's kind of playground or something just to go, this is interesting and only happens in Vegas, right? Kind of thing. So I don't know, like, have you chatted about that to like amp up the fun, or is it so much safety and getting it executed we don't think about that?
No, there's got to be something in the middle,
right.
and I'll tell you this because
Mike on rollerblades.
She's like, I don't know where the hell to go with this bounce house bullshit.
No, I actually I do because like I said, I go to all sorts of events, and I like to go to the E3, the video game show in LA every year. It's amazing. But they think like that. It's non-traditional.
Right.
You know, you're thinking way outside the box. And I went at the last one, which was 2019. I went, I don't know, for the day or something, and walking through the lobby, and there's this, the claw game.
Yeah.
So they had this claw game, but it was with a person. So literally, it's a person.
So the person is the claw, or the claw is picking people up?
It's you get in a harness.
Okay, so you're the claw.
And it's kind of like there's this big apparatus.
Okay.
Think of like a garage door opener,
Yeah.
sort of. And they suspend the person, and it's this like, think of like a ball pit, sort of. But there's boxes of stuff, and they like lower you, and then you grab a box with whatever the prize is in there, and then that's what you get. It might be a set of headphones. It might be, who knows what it might be. So I took a whole bunch of pictures, and
that's pretty cool.
Immediately I call
Human Claw.
Kathleen McLaughlin.
Okay, yes.
With Novomatic.
Yep, I know exactly.
She's the one who said to me on my first day at WMS, "Can you do this?"
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. And I'm like, Kath, this is so you.
Yeah.
The way she thinks. I'm like, I got to send you this picture. And she's like, she texts me back and she said, "What if I'm wearing a skirt?"
Well, that's a risk you're going to have to take, I guess, Kath. Like, either. Well, if you advertise in advance that you could potentially be part of the Human Claw, you make your own fashion choices, right? I mean, I don't know. What are you going to do?
Probably not
You
wearing
can't-
a skirt or
So
a kilt for you.
Depends on who you are. Yeah, kilt. Yeah, exactly.
It's that sort of stuff that I love to see it. Will it make it to G2E? I don't know if it's going to make it to G2E, but it's fun to think about
That
it.
could be awesome. Like, so to me, like, again, like you had, and I know it was just a size and space
Maybe
issue.
she wins a pair of pants.
She just happens to find like a perfectly sized pair of pants for her.
Sorry.
Like, hey, Kath, take the pink box. Trust me. You crazy. But like that would be fun though, right? Like having something like that where people go, I don't know, I'm strapping in. How cool would it be to take your picture as the like? There's such a buzz behind something
I
like
have
that.
so many things. Like for you, they're gonna be like, I don't know. It's great talking about
Well,
guy.
if we were on the claw team helping organize, I'd be a minimum going to support at least 300 pounds. Because if it doesn't, we're not doing it. We can't do Landon size claw. We have to have all the
Plus rollerblades.
There's big boys in this industry, buddy. There's a whole army of us. So it's funny. But yeah, how cool. Well, you could win rollerblades out of the pit.
Yeah.
Right? So, but that's the kind of stuff that to me is like, wouldn't that be cool? And it would be buzzy, and it could be a way to draw traffic not away from Gucci Road. They're going to get it anyway. And it's like, well, maybe you spruce up some of the quieter parts of the floor with this kind of buzzy thing. I mean, that's what we were just chatting because, we were talking about for ourselves, like, hey, next year we might be big enough to want to do something. What would you do? And I don't want to be the guy at the table with a chair. So it's like, what would you do that's fun? And to me, like, claw game's cool. Or
Sorry, I didn't save that one for
that's
my
okay.
more private
No,
forum.
That's okay. Well, here's the thing. People listening, we're going to need sponsors for prizes. So everybody can come together, throw in the stuff, logos everywhere, viral videos. We're in. This could be fun. If you approve, I don't know the safety liability stuff, but that's Korbi's team. They can handle that.
What'd be cool is like maybe for international travelers, like an Easter egg hunt or something. Something where you have to go take a picture with some certain slot machine. You got to go find all these little things, and then you accomplish all your goals, and then
Oh, like a scavenger?
yeah, like a
yeah,
scavenger.
that'd be fun.
Has that been done?
I don't know.
Has it been? Do they do that at other shows or?
Sometimes it's more of like a passport approach,
Right.
like visit here, get a stamp, visit there,
Yep.
get a stamp. But I like the scavenger hunt idea.
To me, it's fun, right? So, like, to me, the idea, and I'm not a marketer by background, but I would look at it and go, if there's cool spots, right? And so the hunt would be take your picture on the claw, take your picture at the new, like, Blueberry giant horse racing game, or at the Aristocrat had that big tunnel, right? Like, there's some pretty cool things on the floor, even without having to set it up yourself. Or maybe you say, hey, Vegas is coming in, and we're going to do showgirls or something. Go take pictures there, post them, tag us, and then guess what? We'll put you in a drawing. Or maybe if you you show us you did all 10 things, there's a prize or whatever, like some motivator to do it. But it just creates more buzz and fun, and people run around going, hey, did you see the showgirls yet? No. Did you do the claw? No. Like whatever it is. And I don't know, it could be fun. But this is just us strategizing.
No, I think it's cool. And actually, we did something, it's not similar to that,
Sure.
but to try to accomplish that sort of thing. It's an idea I saw at G2E Asia a couple of years ago. It's called Hot Hits.
Okay.
And it was super popular there. So the idea is the exhibitor picks whatever their coolest innovation or product is.
Yep.
And the attendee can walk around and decide for themselves what they like the best.
So they label it. So if you're Sci Games, you go, this is our hot hit.
Yeah, and there's like a
submission.
There's a QR code
Yeah,
on
got
it. And the attendee can, with their phone, scan it, and then it turns into a contest with a leaderboard. And you can watch the leaderboard change.
Yeah.
And it's like, here's the product that's in the lead. Or you can watch things change over time.
Sure.
We brought that to G2E in 2019. And we had some pretty good success with it. It was fun because it got people exploring. It also challenged the exhibitors to promote themselves in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think it was really successful that year.
Yeah, that's
You
cool.
know what would be rad is if you did it like interactive. So like the People's Choice Award, right? You're the most innovative, the most interesting. Like you could have categories, maybe 5, not a ton. But if you pick that as the winning category, you hashtag, take a picture, post it to social, and then you guys can go look at those hashtags, and whoever has the most pictures posted. So it draws attention for you guys for G2E, but then it also draws attention to that company, and then you guys could pick whatever that premium product is or whatever won the innovative award, and you're like, we got 400 pictures of whatever so-and-so slot machine that's going to win that category. So it gets people, I don't know. I'm just
So
shooting
what
from
you
there.
didn't know you're walking into is us applying for the creative team for G2E 2022.
Yeah, by the way, can we get a job?
It's like, hey, by the way, she's like, what the hell is he? What's
Do you have a dev team? Because they're
looking
all
at
of
it.
that
We do
happening.
on some
Blue,
stuff.
come
Yeah, technically we have some guys that can help us out.
Yeah. No, I love the idea of the segments because then it's not just all about slot games.
Right.
Because so much of G2E is about core gaming.
Right.
But this industry is about so much more.
Oh, yeah.
For
We're
sure.
So much
learning
more.
that daily.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. We learned that over the last year and a half, just doing the podcast. You're like, wait, what? Like, there's so many things that affect casino business that would represent well at a G2E that it's not slots, it's not tables, right? We were talking about, I think one of the other times was like, it's chip cleaners, it's, cash counters, it's security technology and IT innovations. And there's a lot of things out there. And yeah, I mean, some of those are boring by themselves, but you go, well, what could we do to spice it up or drive some energy no, it's fun.
Yeah. I love it.
How did you? Okay, so I do have a question. Hopefully, it's not hard hitting, but some people kept asking me like rhetorically because they're frustrated with wearing masks, right? And so the question was: we go to the Raiders game, we're fully vaccinated, right? We get our green wristband just like we had for the show, and inside the stadium we could go mask free. Yet at G2E, fully vaccinated, wristbanded up, still have to wear the mask. So was that like a Venetian Palazzo mandate? Did you guys just say, hey, for the safety of everyone, we're doing it? How did that come that you needed to both
question.
prove vaccines and keep the masks on?
So you're right in that it's different when you go see the Raiders.
Sure.
Yep.
The hard part, because there's always legal stuff
I'm
with
sure,
all of
yeah,
this.
liability
And going into this G2E, I was thinking that I might actually be awarded an honorary attorney's degree.
Oh, really? Yeah, yeah.
Because
like a Juris Doctor, yeah.
it took so much lawyering to get
Interesting.
this whole event going. And I spent so much time with our legal team, which fortunately for me, they're really great and so super helpful. But there are different rules if you go into all of the governor stuff.
Yeah, right.
And the Directive 047 is the one that covers the stadiums and venues with more than 4,000 fixed seats.
Got it.
So that was that. And then later, Directive 050 came, and that was the one that allowed things to open up a little bit more for other large events without all those fixed seats. So it kind of opened up the possibility, but it was only for people who are fully vaccinated. So
It only takes one, right?
we
You're like, hey.
we start looking at the lawyers open up the papers and they're like, okay, so here's all of these things and how do you differentiate who's vaccinated or not? But then you get to the end and you have to apply for this exemption 30 days before your event starts setting up. That came out 28 days before G2E started setting up.
So
Just
it's like
missed
they
it.
stuck it to you. They knew what they were doing.
It was, it was unfortunate, but then it kind of took one thing like, okay, one less really big thing for us to have to manage.
Sure.
And at the end of the day, nobody likes wearing masks,
No,
right?
for sure. That's why I was
But if it helps make the situation a little bit safer, then
Oh, we all did it. Look,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anyone was like mad and going, screw G2E. It was just like, oh man, like I had to go get my wristband and do this. And guys were just asking in the hallway, going, I don't know why we got to do both things. And I'm like, I don't know, but if I ever can find out, I'll ask you. And
There was a
go.
reason.
So,
There was a reason.
To your credit and to your team's credit, congratulations on a successful G2E.
Yeah.
Because like prior to before G2E even started, everybody's like, I don't know how this is going to work. How many people are going to show up? Nobody wants to get vaccinated. This is going to be a wash.
Yeah.
Then G2E came and it was a successful show. A lot of people came. A lot of people had great meetings. Like
Yeah.
it was handled perfectly for the conditions that you were thrown at. So congratulations.
Thank you. And I appreciate that you mentioned the team too, because trust me, this team that I work with every day is amazing. And particularly with that whole situation, the ops team, the marketing team, the legal team, the combination of all of
How big is that team? How many people
it's not big.
well, there's probably the I don't know, the white collar side of the team, right? All these strategists and the people that are coming. Yeah. But then you look around and you're going, but there's hundreds of guys.
There are hundreds of people working on the show.
Building booths and
sure.
running wires.
But
and
your team, like how many?
Dozen, 2 dozen.
It's somewhere in between there of people that I work with every day. And you also have to include in there, G2E is a co-owned show. Yeah. RX owns it jointly with the AGA. Yep. So together we're a team, and we all do things that bring different skill sets to the table. So it doesn't happen without everybody working together.
Sure.
Interesting. Yeah, no doubt.
Well, cool.
This is fun.
I'm excited to get a gambling story from Korbi.
So I was actually nervous. So we always ask, like, hey, do you have a gambling story? And I'm like, I don't know, man. If your background is just like events set up in trade shows, maybe you even gamble. But now that I know you work for WMS and IGT and every bang, she's got one at least one. So
before we get into that though, because I feel there's a lot. Like I didn't know that there was so much. I mean, obviously there's a lot to G2E, but this has been interesting because it's outside of like the general scope of who we usually interview. But this is cool. I'm blabbing. Did we miss anything? Is like anything that you're like people should know this, like about G2E or not like like. Just something that we could have missed that you're like, this really should be put out there, or like, putting you on the spot.
Maybe one thing, a couple of things that I want to say is number one, we were just so happy to be back in person.
Yeah.
And we've all been through a lot of crazy stuff the last couple of years. There's a lot of people that think, yeah, you can do this all online right now.
Right.
You can do many things online, and we have all adapted to do different things in a virtual setting, but there's no substitute for coming together and doing business in person.
Agree.
I will say I feel like I got more hugs this year, right? And it sounds weird, right? But like you're walking around and people like normally they handshake, they're like, give me a hug, dude. I haven't seen you in 2 years, some of these guys, right? So I get that.
Yeah, that was
there was
the
definitely
thing,
an overwhelming, hey, it's good to see you.
When we decided, and I think it was like end of May, that we planted our flag and we said, we're doing G2E in person this year.
Yep.
We didn't know what it would look like. We didn't know how it would turn out, but we felt like if we had an event in person and people came and people felt safe being there, that it was a success. So we knew it would be celebration for sure. Yeah. And hopefully business getting done. The feedback that we got was we did a lot of great meetings, a lot of high-level people were there and had a good show. So to us, that was a huge win. And coming together was the best part of it all. Really a celebration for the industry. Yeah, so we were really happy to have that result.
Do you have any? I have one question that
Yeah.
I think people want to know.
Okay.
I don't know if you can answer this. And you don't have to tell who it is. What is the most expensive G2E booth that you've
like
ever
all in, like real estate, set up,
everything that you've seen?
You don't have to name names. You keep them.
Yeah.
But interesting price.
Well, I mean, I don't see all of the back end of everybody's what they spent on their booth.
You have an idea.
I've done a lot of booths, and I've spent a lot of money on booths. I've done a lot of fun, cool stuff, but some of that was a little more in the past, and here we are, in 2021, things cost a lot more.
What's the price tag?
I'm not gonna say, but the ones that have a lot of video production, for sure make a huge investment.
Yeah, no doubt. I know.
Like 5 million?
That's a high number. I mean, maybe all in.
Yeah.
So like, I know like a lot of times when companies talk about it, they say our booth, like the physical footprint plus structures costs X, but then they give your total number, which is employee airfare, hotels, entertainment, parties. But I mean, I know some of the like 2 to 3 million just for
Like
the
2 or 3
setup.
years ago, Cy Games built their own country. I mean, they had Homeland Security. You had to like check, you know what I mean?
Like, yeah.
They built their own wall. They had like diplomats. That's not, you got to ask.
That's some money there. Yeah,
They got
no
some
worries.
money
I
there.
don't know. We'll
Yeah.
find out. We'll ask them what they spent, so we don't have to put her on the hot
Okay.
seat.
I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah,
All right. Well, that brings us sort of the end.
Little gambling.
So we get a little gambling story. I want to know what Korbi does in her free time.
Well-
Does she ever go hit the old slot machines or tables?
I really
Bingo?
don't.
Nothing.
Well,
I like it.
I really don't
Yeah.
because I understand the way it works.
Yep. Me too.
The thing is
Doesn't
that,
stop us, yeah, exactly.
but that's what you do for fun.
Right, yeah.
It's for me, that's not really fun. I would rather, maybe go shopping or have a really
Yeah.
nice meal someplace. Sometimes I do partake a little bit. Once in a while, like walking through on a way to dinner or something, let's put $20 in Megabucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
That kind of
I
thing.
put
Just
21,
like
but yeah, no worries.
You never know what you're going to
Yeah,
get back
exactly.
on it.
It's true.
So never
$3, never bet less than
never
max.
never bet less
Always
than max
bet
for
Megabucks,
sure.
for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one time actually, my husband and I were in Laughlin, just enjoying
Yeah.
Laughlin,
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
and we put money in and hit like $1,200.
Yeah, there you go.
So I mean, for a person that doesn't gamble, that was kind of fun for me.
Quick taxable on the way to the restaurant. Why wouldn't you? It's a good way to go.
Yeah.
Speaking of restaurants, how many dinners do you get invited to at G2?
Oh, man, I was
Because
gonna
how
say-
cool would that be as like a slot salesman? You're like, we're going to dinner with Sam Manuel. Oh, and by the way, Korbi's
And
joining
Korbi's here,
us. She
yeah.
runs the little show. So
No big deal.
no
She's
big
going to be
deal.
sitting over here.
Steak
with
dinner.
It
You gotta
happens.
get tons of
It
invites.
happens sometimes, but entertainment happens year round too.
Oh,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot
What a
of,
cool-
lot of
The,
steak.
the one thing about gambling, though, is we don't, of course, have lottery here.
Right.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I can't resist playing
Lottery
Powerball.
Scratchers.
No,
Okay.
no, I
Oh,
don't.
Powerball. Just
Yeah,
Powerball. Yeah.
If you're gonna do it, right?
Go all in, yeah,
And
sure.
I won't buy big tickets or anything. But
Yeah.
whenever I go someplace that has lottery, which is almost everywhere else,
Yeah, right.
I almost always buy Powerball tickets.
I think everybody loves that. Like, what if I won?
Of
What
course.
would
I got
I
excited.
do?
Well,
what would I buy? How
Yeah, you're big on
lavish
that.
would my
You're big
life
on the whole yacht name thing. I laugh because I bought Powerball or Mega Millions or one of them in Arizona. So I was driving back and forth. I think I was seeing the Gila River and stopped and bought some lotteries. And then somebody from Arizona won. So I was like, what? Like, I was like, where'd they buy it? And it was like, they bought it kind of close to where I was. And I was like, God, like mine was not even close. As a
That
number,
is a
but-
question we
But
haven't
you're
asked in a
scoping
while.
in what?
Or
If you had a yacht, what would you name it?
if you got to buy
Somebody,
a yacht,
whether you won a
win the
lottery or G2E just said thank you with a yacht. How
get
would
a
you?
yacht.
What would you name it?
Well,
200 foot
I
plus
actually
yacht.
do have a boat. It's
Okay.
very small,
Okay.
and it does
Still?
have a name,
What's the name of your boat?
the Rocinante.
Okay,
Is that what you
I don't know
named
what
the
that
yacht?
means. So what does that mean? Like what's the
It
story?
is
Of that?
it's Don Quixote's workhorse.
Oh, okay. The
So,
Rocinante.
and
Classic
that
literature.
It actually, my son picked the name because that's the name of the spacecraft on The Expanse.
Okay.
We're sci-fi geeks
Interesting.
at my,
I love it.
at my house.
Nothing wrong with that.
So when we were, and I you say boat, it's a little boat.
That's
But we
okay.
just
It floats and you can drive
We
it around,
decided to
right? Yeah.
name it, and he said, "How about Rocinante?" And we're like, workhorse. That kind of embodies our whole family.
There you go.
Like we work hard, we like to play hard.
Yeah.
And we're sci-fi geeks, and it all
The
it all
Rocinante.
fits. It fits.
I love it.
Yeah.
I thought it might be G2C.
You're just sitting over there with the puns in your head going, how can we spin this? Nice. Okay, last question. So we always ask like a max bet challenge. So you've come on, thank you for that. And who would you like to see us interview in a future episode? A little shout out.
I
call
think
out.
it would be fun for you guys to interview Victor Rocha.
Okay.
Do you know Victor?
I know who he is. I've met him once, but I don't know that he would recognize me necessarily in a crowd. But I know who he is.
So-
Pachanga,
Yeah,
Pachanga.net.
he's the founder of Pachanga.net.
Yeah.
He and I worked together years ago doing conferences, and I got to know him, and he's a dear friend of
Cool.
mine. He loves this industry, and he can speak to tribal gaming like very few other people can. He's so passionate about the industry and about what it does to help people who.
I would love that interview.
Well, what's awesome,
We need that
what I
interview.
immediately like about him, so it's weird you mention him because I saw he popped up on my Twitter somehow or one of them. And so I'm a fun fact guy, right? Like I like, hey, fun fact, like Bellagio eat 1 billion pounds of shrimp every year, like stuff like that. Whereas, and he was like, hey, fun fact, 459 casinos owned by Indian tribes, like or native tribes, and X amount of tribes. And I was like, see, that's the kind of stuff, just that one hit, little trivia question stuff. Not saying it would be the whole podcast of that, but I immediately like his brain because I'm like, oh, that's how I think. I think of these little consumable
I think
kind
a
of
lot of people
factoids.
think that way.
Even better. Let's
Even
do it.
better.
But yes, it jumped out. So cool. So if, we'd love to chat with Victor. It'd be fun. And good shout out. Well, thanks for coming
Yeah.
on. No one will see these, but I've been wanting to shout him out since you walked in. Awesome shoes she's got cranking. She's got leopard print sneaks that she's cranking. And I'm
Those
like,
are rad.
I'm not going to make her do gym moves to like get on the table here, but I was like, those are sweet kicks. So we'll send you
thank
off
you.
with a little
One
shout out.
story
on the
we
kicks.
didn't even, and I
Do the
wish
intro.
we would have pushed it in the intro. Well, she won't be in the intro.
Oh, you will.
I wouldn't have gone to G2E if I hadn't ran into Korbi because AGS cut my badge. And I saw Korbi in the hallway and she got
Damn
me.
it, Julia. What are you doing?
Come on, Julia. So thank you
Korbi
for
let us in the
thank
side
you
door.
for allowing me to go
You're
to
welcome.
G2E 2021.
Oh, man.
I thank you.
You're welcome.
But thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, this was fun. Appreciate you.
Great to be
Yeah.
here. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Awesome.
Right on.